Hello, in the previous videos we tracked markers on an actor's face and detected lip and eyelid contours using Personalized Detector. Now that we detected the lip and eyelid contours, we need to tell RAP how to find these contours on the base mesh. Here I have the neutral mesh that was created in part 1. I will also need the front camera node that was previously used to render images for tracking in part 3. Let me bring up that project for a second. We need to copy this node and paste it into our current project. Now let's create a facial annotation node. As you can see, the node has a lot of inputs. I'm going to plug my neutral base mesh into the first input. Let's switch to the Visual Editor tab. I'll use my camera as the second input. Here on the right you can see an eye and mouth template that we need to match with the base mesh. And here on the left you can see the result of the projection of the contours onto the base mesh surface. The number of semantic points in these contours is different compared to what we use for detection in our 3ds track in part 5. We can solve that by importing the contours from the detector results. I'm going to click the Import from Detection button. Let's go to the detection folder. Here you can see a sequence of files containing the detection results exported from our 3ds track in part 5. I'm going to take the first frame of the sequence. Now we have the approximate shapes of the eyelid and lip contours from the first frame of the 4D sequence. It's important that the number of semantic points is exactly the same as we use for detection. Now I'm going to adjust these contours to closely match the base mesh. First, let's remove extra points by clicking on them while holding the Ctrl key. Let's put the eyelid contours roughly in place. When all the contour points can be projected onto the base mesh surface, the projection result appears on the left. Now what we need to do is to carefully align the curves with the corresponding edge loops on the mesh. In this particular topology, the loop over here corresponds to the eyelash attachment line. This is where our contour should be placed. We can make sure that the projection is correct by checking it in 3D space. Let me quickly do the same for the left eye. This step should only be done once for a given character, but the accuracy of annotation is of great importance and highly affects the quality of the final result. Alright, with this done, let's move on to the lip contours. Remember that we have markers on the actor's lips and we need to place our semantic points accordingly. When finished, make sure that your contour annotation is close as possible to the neutral annotation that you used in our 3ds track in part 5. Great, but we need to do one more step. As you may remember, our 3ds track also detects the inner lip contours. You can't annotate the inner lip contours on the base mesh because for every frame it depends on a particular expression and lip shape. What we can do instead is tell RAP where the different parts of the lips are. With this knowledge, RAP will automatically compute the inner lip contours on the base mesh for each frame. To do that, we need to provide a set of polygon selections corresponding to different parts of the lips. I'm going to create a polygon selection node. It's pretty hard to select lips when they are closed, so we can select them on the open mouth expression from RAP's gallery. Since both meshes have the same topology, it doesn't matter which one of them is used for the selection. Let's select a single polygon in the middle of the lip. Then by holding the Shift key and clicking on neighbouring polygon, we can select the entire edge loop. Then let's click Grow Selection several times. The inner part of the selection should be big enough to reach the base of the gums. The outer part should be big enough so that it won't be occluded when an actor purses their lips. With this done, let's copy this node and call it upper right lip. Let's deselect everything, leaving just the upper right part. Let's copy the original node again and call it upper left lip. Let's deselect all but the upper left part. Alright, give me some time to do the same for the bottom left and right parts. Okay, looks good. All that's left to do is select a mouth socket. To do this, let's copy the original node again. I'm going to call it mouth socket. Let's hide the selected polygons. Now we can select the mouth socket by double-clicking on it. Alright, with this done, let's plug all the selections into the corresponding inputs of the facial annotation node. Great, if everything is done correctly, the node computes with no errors. Let's have a closer look over here at the corner of the lips. It's very important that the semantic points corresponding to the lip corners lay exactly on the border between these two polygon groups. Let's adjust the position of the corner point. Let's do the same for the other corner. OK, now I'm going to save the annotation as a file to use it in the next part. Let's click Export. I'm going to create a folder for my results and call it Facial Annotation. Let's save the file name to Facial Annotation JSON. Alright, that's it for this tutorial. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.